When it comes to fishing in Mr. Pandaria, you're probably thinking, Scott, how on earth are you going to try and get a full video out of this? Well, I thought exactly the same thing and fully intended on talking about cooking at exactly the same time, but honestly, there is so much that changes with fishing. It's actually less about what changes and more about what's added. From having an entire reputation dedicated just to being a fisherman, being able to raise your friendship levels with Nat Pagle, having fish of the day areas that you go out and fish in, and eventually you'll be able to actually kill kind of a very easy world boss for fishing related rewards, rares out in the open world that give really overpowered fishing charms that you're definitely going to want. I shouldn't say plural, it's just one fishing charm, but unlimited uses, assuming you get it. Some of the craziest rewards will not only fit the theme of being an angler or being a fisherman, but they're just useful for everyone outside of just fishing. Things like a mount that can travel on water, a raft that, well, that's more just for fishing, don't get me wrong, but still a raft that you can float around on. It really is a good time to enjoy fishing in Mr. Pandaria, no doubt. Well, where to start? I suppose when it comes to outright fishing, the biggest change is the fact that you don't actually need a fishing rod equipped anymore. There's some fishing bonuses you get just by the things being in your inventory, whereas others you will actually still have to equip. If you're fishing on a PvP server, for example, and you feel a little bit exposed by having to use a fishing pole, if you get attacked, switch to your real weapons and then start fighting, that's not an issue anymore, even though, well, PvP is probably dead. But if it's not on your server for any reason, you don't actually have to equip the fishing pole, but again, you will get bonuses if you do. That does just mean, though, if you're doing a casual bit of fishing, or you're doing your dailies, or whatever you're doing where it's like not super important that your fishing skill is as high as it can physically be, then cool, you haven't even got to worry about putting it on anymore. Then there's two reputations. Technically, there's only one reputation and a friendship level, but I kind of see them as two separate things. You've got the anglers, where you get a set of rewards, which we'll talk about, what you get from friendly all the way up to exalted, and then you've got Nat Pagle himself. With Nat Pagle, you're going to raise your friendship levels with him from stranger all the way up to best friend. Now, when you're best friends with him, there's a few real key items you're going to be able to get, one of which you just get in the mailbox. He sends it to you because you're his best friend now, and it's Nat's fishing chair, which is pretty cool. Secondly, you're now going to be able to purchase from him Nat's fishing journals. Now, these journals basically just raise the fishing skill of an alt. There's never going to be a reason you use it on your main, because if you've managed to get best friends with Nat, you've been doing a lot of fishing, so you're already going to be at max fishing skill of 600 in MoP. But if you've got an alt that you want fishing on, maybe it's just that one profession that you've never bothered with on this alt that you actually play a lot, then you can pick these journals up. They're expensive, don't get me wrong, but you don't even need to cast your line out into the ocean to be able to max your fishing skill using these. There is actually another place you can get these books, and we'll come on to that in a minute. But the big one that everyone's going to want if you do enjoy fishing is going to be Nat's hat. Now, not only does this give you 5 fishing skill for just having it equipped, but also you no longer need lures of any description, because this gives you 150 fishing skill for 10 minutes on a 10-minute cooldown, so 100% uptime, obviously. So this saves bag space, gives you increased fishing skill on top of what you would already have, and they're obviously really, really good lures. Don't get me wrong, all of these come at a cost, but a pretty insignificant cost for what you're actually getting. Now, that's just Nat Pagle, but there is the Anglers, which is the general little fishing village you're in. Get some Anglers reputation doing a bit of a short quest chain in Dread Wastes, but overall, the way you're going to get the reputation with the Anglers is going to be doing daily quests at Angler's Wharf each day. Throughout the reputation levels, obviously the good stuff don't really start till Revered and Exalted. Now, before then, you're going to get some cooking recipes, and you can even get a little pet as well, which a battle pet. But at Revered, you're going to be able to unlock the Commendation, which will unlock a 100% bonus reputation gain with the Anglers across all characters on your account. Now, that was a catch-up mechanic for all reputations that's added further down the line, but hopefully it's in at launch. It should be. You'll be able to get a Tuskar spear, where you can just plant the spear in the ground that increases fishing for anyone who stands near it. A really good dragon fishing pole. The Angler's fishing raft is the real interesting one out of this whole reputation. In my opinion, even better than the mount that goes along water. And interestingly, much later in Legion, it was turned into a toy, so it would sit in your collections tab. And as we've got the retail collections tab, it's a possibility. I'm not saying it will be. Be prepared to possibly get this on multiple characters, but let's face it, who fishes on multiple characters? But anyway, it pretty much does what it says on the tin. You'll be able to raft around on the water doing your fishing. You can jump on it as well, which makes it go faster. And to be fair, it's just really useful. For anybody who does a lot of fishing in World of Warcraft, you'll know that water walking potions, for example, are really, really strong, or water walking as a shaman, because sometimes the pools are a little bit too far out, or sometimes you just want to get away from people and go and fish just on your own out in the middle of nowhere. This raft allows you to do that and looks really cool at the same time. One thing you might not be aware of is there's a mage-only version of this. So if you get to Revered with the Anglers as a mage, you'll see something else, which is Bips's Bobbing Berg. Now, it's the same thing. You're just going to be stood on a little iceberg that you can control and move around like the raft, but it just looks cool because you're a mage, you've turned it to ice, that's what you're using to fish on. Just a little bonus I'd throw in there. Now, at Exalted, it's the Reigns of the Azure Water Strider, which it does what it says on the tin, much like the raft. This is a epic drowned mount, and it goes across water, and it's got some cool little animation when you press jump, and it stretches his legs up. It's mega cool, and everybody's going to want to get this. It's useful everywhere. Like, just being able to ride straight across water is really useful. The only downside is really, well, in every zone now, most people fly, but it can be particularly useful for leveling alts, don't get me wrong. But there are still some areas you can't fly that has water where this is going to be used, so get out of my comments, because I know you was about to start going, oh, but you can't fly, and I don't care. I do care, really, but I'm just saying. Again, to get Exalted with the Anglers, it's basically just a few dailies a day, but there is another way to get Reputation, and that's actually 3 rare fish that are out in the world, which you'll go around and fish up, which are Flying Tiger Gourami, Mimic Octopus, and Spinefish Alpha. You can use them to start the quest and hand these in once a day. This is how you get your Nat Pagle rep. This is the only way to get Nat Pagle rep. So you're going to go out each day and fish all 3 of these up, go and hand them in, you're going to get Angler's rep, and you're going to get Nat Pagle rep, with absolutely no bonus reputation whatsoever, so you're not human, you're not in a guild, and all of that. I think it's about 27 days to use all 3 of these and become best friends with Nat. So that's going out and getting them every single day, with no bonus reputations in place, 27 days. The reason I say bonus reputation is, of course, you can make it quicker with things like the human racial, Darkmoon Fair getting the reputation buff there, if Pilgrim's Bounty's in, so you can get the Spirit of Sharing, that's 10%, and even Hallow's End has got a reputation bonus attached to it as well. So if you're quite lazy and you want to get as much reputation as possible, and one of those events is on, of course, go and get the reputation bonus. Now, I think that's covered the reputation side of things enough. That's both Nat Pagle and the Anglers, the rewards, how you actually go out and get these things. Now, I said about fish of the day. So each time you go to your farm, well, not your farm, but just Half Hill Market where your farm is, there's this NPC that you can talk to, which will tell you, or even just mark on your map, where the fish of the day are today. When you go there, there's going to be unique pools, and they spawn extremely fast. The fish of the day area will be by far the most condensed areas of fishing pools. So hopefully it's a useful fish that happens to be fish of the day, because remember, all of these fish are used in good cooking recipes. Some will be more expensive than others. But in general, if you're going to fish in pools for any reason, even to get the deep sea turtle or something like that, these pools are the place to go. Now, the super interesting thing about doing these fish of the day pools is there's one really big pool that summons Krakenon. Now, Krakenon drops 20 of the area's fish, as well as a chance at one of Nat's fishing journals. And this was what I was saying earlier, that there was another way you can get them. You can save thousands of gold by killing this rare when he comes out of the pool and getting lucky and getting a Nat's fishing journal. He also has a chance at dropping the daily fishing fish that we were talking about, the daily fishing fish. You know, the rare fish that you're going around and getting all 3 of them once a day. He also drops them as well, so it can be quite an easy way to kill multiple birds with one stone. The fight itself is really, really simple. He just does a frontal cone, he's got about 20 million health, and he drops water pool geyser things at the floor that knock you up. It can literally be soloed, but it will take a while. The good thing about this is the more people that are actually there tagging him, everybody gets the same loot. So everybody's going to get like 20 of the fish that's in the area, one of the quest items possibly, and a chance at the fishing journal as well. So it's not like loot that's rolled out. Everybody just gets stuff from it. So the more people that are there, the better. There's no lockout on this or anything. It's not like a real world boss, as in you can only do it once a week. So fish away, kill away, and get lots and lots of gold. Now, there are a few fish you can get as well, being the tiny blue carp, green carp, red carp, and white carp. And these can be fished basically all across Pandaria. Obviously, all unique to different zones, but you can also pick these up while you're doing the Fish of the Day event as well. They wasn't added until later in 5.2 and eventually became actual cageable, so you could sell them on the auction house as well. Because we're going in a 5.4.8 state, I would fully assume that they're going to be in at launch, because There's kind of no reason for them not to be. Now, I kind of feel like I've left the best until last. I think you've got a good grasp on what the anglers are, what Nat Pagle is, the minor adjustments to fishing where you don't need a fishing pole, all of the amazing rewards you can get. There's going to be one thing that drives you absolutely nuts. And I don't mean it's going to drive you nuts in a good way. I mean it's going to drive you nuts in a you need to sit down and talk to someone sort of way. Because there's a rare in Valley of the Four Winds that everybody who takes fishing seriously or uses fishing as a way of making gold will want to find. And it is just find. It's not even kill. But there's an ancient Pandaren fisherman who spawns around here, and when you talk to him, you're going to get an ancient Pandaren fishing charm, and then he's going to die. So it should only be one person, unless Blizzard makes it from where the first person that talks to it then it starts a timer before it dies, and it, I don't know, lasts a few minutes. I would do something like this because in Classic this is going to suck to try and get, and I really, really want it. It's going to be one of those items where actually being on a dead server is going to be a good thing. Now, apparently there was a short grace period back in original MoP, but when I say short grace period, I mean I've seen comments from like 2014 where people said 2 out of like the 10 people that were stood there happened to get it because they clicked at exactly the same time. So on the basis this is something I haven't got myself legitimately for about 10 years, I can't say exactly how this is going to work. All I can say is that Blizzard really should make it a little bit more friendly. Like I said before, when it's first clicked on, it lasts a few minutes before it disappears. Because, yeah, it's kind of just going to suck a little bit otherwise. But you're probably thinking, all right, shut up, Scott. What does it actually do? Okay, so think about alchemy masteries. Seriously. Think about alchemy masteries. When you're a potion master and you make a potion, you've got a chance of getting extra. Same if you're elixir master. Same if you're transmute master. This is kind of fishing mastery. So you use it and it attaches the charm to your character, not to your fishing rod, and it gives you a chance to find additional fish from pools in Pandaren for an hour. Now, this is not consumed on use. You haven't got to farm this every time you want to use it. You get it, you've got it forever. And what it basically does is gives you a chance of when you fish up, let's say 1 fish, you'll get 2 fish instead. It's really that simple. But it's obviously quite frequent as well. I would say about 20% of the time it works every time. So bad. But yeah, it's just an amazing rare, and there's many rares like this for even other professions. Like, a bit of a spoiler for when I get to the mining and herbalism video in a day or so. Miners can find a rare pick where it gives you a chance when you're mining to be able to get uncut gems. Because yes, we know back in other expansions like Wrath of the Lich King, for example, you know, when you're mining, you've got a chance of getting uncut gems that you can then send to jewel crafters. That's not the case in Mr. Pandaria. The only way someone who's mining has a chance of getting gems is if they've got this one rare pick that, again, is going to be camped silly because it's just free gold when you're already out mining anyway. But yeah, so there's lots of fun stuff like this, and I'm here for it. I will throw in one bonus thing, and that's just because once a month you've actually got a chance, if you fish over at Darkmoon Fair, to get the Darkmoon fishing cap. Now, the Darkmoon fishing cap not only increases your fishing skill, but you also, on a 1-hour cooldown, can summon a shipwrecked debris. Just a little bonus I thought I'd just throw in. It's not actually something I even remember ever using or ever getting on a private server, but just for the sake of being thorough, I wanted to throw it in. And I do believe that was actually pretty thorough. So that's everything you need to know about fishing in Mr. Pandaria. I apologise that it's a whole video dedicated to fishing, and, you know, I didn't get more secondary professions or gathering professions or anything in here, but they're to come. So the next video should be mining, herbalism and cooking. I might be able to get cooking in with mining and herbing, but we'll see how long it takes. If not, cooking will be part of a bigger video with Half Hill Market. If you know what Half Hill Market is, you know you're going to enjoy it. Anyway, like and subscribe and all that jazz. If you want Arrested XP, check out the link in the description or the pinned comment and use code Scottejaye for some form of discount. I don't even know what it is anymore. And I'll see you on the next one.